Okay, this video is a continuation of productivity hacks from the book Prevent and Reverse Sleep Problems. I just threw on productivity hacks at the end of the book. It actually kind of goes more with study skills, this little section, but I just had to stick it in there somewhere. I do have a grounding mat. It's grounded to the wall. I put my feet on there. I don't always use it. I use it more in the past. It's a little awkward now because of the way my new apartment is, but basically the theory of it is that the earth is negatively charged, and when people walk barefoot on the earth, they get some negative charges that go into their body, and they have a therapeutic benefit. They help to maintain the negative charge that's thought on the glycocalyx, meaning the covering of their individual cells. So it might just be a placebo effect, but there's some reason to believe it's true, and I think it was a little bit helpful to me. That's why I still have it, even though I don't always use it. So that's the grounding pad, and it goes to the wire, it's grounded. Okay, so that's productivity hack number one. Number two, okay, here's showing it grounded into the wall. So that's a normal electric plug, normal electric plug. Here's the grounding thing in that extra, the third hole, okay? Now, the next thing I'm going to show you here is how I handle my clothing. I keep my clothing really simple. If anybody really knows me and what I've done, I mean, it's kind of like, I'm kind of like a miracle, okay? I work full-time, long hours as a clinical doctor, but I still manage to write over 30 books and make over 4,000 YouTube videos. I do run reruns, but I made about 4,000 unique YouTube videos. And I do it because I'm pretty efficient. My life is really simple. For example, I have only two types of t-shirts. They're either black, which I wear to work, or they're white, which I wear when I'm more dressed up, okay? I dress in layers. I only wear white cotton underwear. I have other ones I'm almost like to dry myself down there, but I only wear the white cotton underwear. The point of this is I'm avoiding decision fatigue. I'm avoiding analysis paralysis because I wear the same thing every day to work, the same thing all the time when I make my videos for the most part. I just change my tie. I'll sometimes change my shirt or my sports coat, but it's a pretty simple wardrobe. I don't have to think much, okay? That's what I'm trying to do, is avoid thinking about routine tasks. I have like a bunch of different versions of blue shirts that I wear all the time for work when I'm doing clinical medicine. All right, so what I'm saying is one of the great secrets of being highly productive is to simplify everything else in your life. For example, I have a new wife, and by the way, my wife just bought me this bamboo brush because it has no plastic in it, because she didn't want me to have microplastics. She said my other brush had plastic in it. I thought that was kind of funny. I just made a video about minimizing exposure to microplastics, and I forgot to include that, so I just threw it in here. All right, but anyways, this idea of simplifying your life makes a big deal. Also, when I first started dating my wife, I said, look, if you're going to go out with me, you're going to cook all my food. You're going to do all my laundry, and you're going to iron all my shirts. You're going to clean my apartment. And if you don't want to do that, then we're not even going to go on one date, because that's what I need a woman to do, okay? And so she had to say she's willing to take a try at it, all right? Because you have to be that way. Because if you don't say what you want in a relationship, then you won't get it. And, believe me, no woman ever gets into a relationship with a man unless she has a good deal. She always gets a better deal than the guy does, because the guy's not as focused on it, whereas to her, she's focused on it, okay? Women control relationships a lot more than they should. They have way more power in a relationship than they should in the modern world. Anyways, here's a little bit of my wardrobe. Again, I don't have that many variety of shirts, because what I do is I go through my shirts, and if I don't wear anything for 6 months, I just throw it in the garbage, or I give it away. Because I know if I don't wear it for 6 months, I'm never going to wear it. So everything here is things that I actually wear. And the old green sports coat is my Irish father, his sports coat, okay? And then the navy blue is the one I wear most of the time, and then I have a tuxedo. That's it. I got 3 sports coats. That's all I need. And as long as you change the tie every day, change the shirt once in a while, it looks like you have a totally different wardrobe. For a man, it's very easy to dress. Again, this is very simple, so I don't ever have to think about it. And then I just got a bunch of sweatpants and stuff and sweatshirts that I use for working out. So it's really simple. This idea of simplicity, I can't tell you how important it is. I can also tell you, before I got divorced and remarried with my ex-wife, for 10 years in a row, I did not have a cell phone. And I would almost never speak on the phone. If somebody was sick or some relative or friend of the family, friend of a friend, I would talk with them, try to help them with their health problems. But I don't chat. I don't chit-chat. I don't have any interest to socialize, okay? I got an academic IQ probably about 175 or something. I want to read. That's where the information is. I want to write my books. I want to study the things I'm interested in. I don't chit-chat. If a friend wants to talk to me, I love talking to my friends. They know how to contact me, okay? But I don't randomly chit-chat. In difference, like with my ex-wife, she could make 100 phone calls in one day, and she'd be on the phone all day long. I would, have 1 or 2 phone calls a month, or a little more than that, maybe about 4 or 5. But it was people who needed to talk to me because they had a health problem, and I would talk to them. Once in a while, one of my relatives would do something interesting, and they would call me. Great. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is, I don't chit-chat. That sounds like no big deal, but a lot of people, like the typical woman, they used to have 10 kids before birth control, or 15, and they were always busy. Then nowadays they're only having 1, 2, or 3, so they got all this free time on their hands and they just want entertainment. I'm not looking for entertainment. I'm figuring out, how can I write my next book? I got 4.5 books written in my head, and I just want to find time to put them down on paper. That's what's going on in my brain, so I want to simplify everything else in my life, okay? And that's how you get a lot of stuff done. It's not that glamorous, but it works. Okay? Let's see. And, you look like you're dressed nice. You wear a dress shirt with a collar, you wear a tie, you look like you're dressed nice. So it's pretty simple. Of course, let's see what else. In my YouTube channel, I got tons of playlists. Oh, then I'll just go with the stuff. At the back of my books, I always put about the author. Not that anyone cares, but I have a background of the School of Athens because I love it. It's my favorite painting of all time. And I sort of feel like I'm part of it. I'm like the modern Aristotle, so it totally fits me. So I like that. All I have is a webcam. I have my typical nighttime routine is just shit, shower, shave, showtime. I come home from work, do my business, start making videos. Okay, that's what I do every night. And I like it. For an old man, what else am I going to do? Here's a picture of me when I was young, when I went through my fat phase. I was an imaging-guided surgeon. This guy's a world-famous imaging-guided surgeon. And I was I was at an animal lab course learning how to do some advanced surgical procedures. I went through my fat phase for about 4 years. I finally figured out how to lose the weight, and Dr. McDougall helped me also get the last 20, 30 pounds off. But I was real fat. I got to 220 pounds. That's real fat for me. I was a star McDougall back in the day, and here's me. This is a picture of me when I was 62, and that's about half of the books I've written. I've written over 30 books. And everything I've written, of my books that I've written in the last 5 years, is the best thing ever done in that field. I wouldn't write it if it wasn't the best. Some of my earlier books, I was sort of learning how to do it. I didn't have it figured out yet. Now I know. But there it is. The only reason I'm not famous is because I'm totally shadow banned. Okay, but I've figured out all kinds of things. Nobel Prize category. What causes dementia? How to prevent it? What causes spinal degeneration and back pain? How to prevent it? Okay, what's the role of mitochondrial inhibitors in disease? Rewrote all the textbooks. No one gives a rat's ass because all the pros, they're a bunch of poor people, and nobody really cares about poor people. All the poor people are funny. They think people care about them and the institutions care about them. No, you're poor. Nobody cares about you. There's nothing you can do for anyone else, so they don't care about you. So you have to learn how to take care of yourself. It's just good to deal with reality. That's just another picture of me with a bunch of my books when I first started writing them. Here's just some of my books, Food, Mood, and IQ, Medical Reformation, Quote Book, Best Christian Art, Best Christian Songs, the autobiography of Dr. McDougall and his work, Study Skills, Underground Guide to Study Skills, Straight A at Stanford, down to Harvard, which is basically how to deal with college and med school. Poor Man's Way to Fight Cancer, best book ever written about what a person can do to help themselves. Cover of the World and Olympic champion Schultz brothers on the cover, the wrestling coaches at Stanford. Top 50 books in healthcare and nutrition so a person can retrace my path and know how to optimize their health and figure it all out, so it's not just, my YouTube channel, who knows, it might get deleted someday, so I wanted to have it all in a book. Prevent and reverse diabetes, prevent and reverse hypertension, prevent and reverse obesity, prevent and reverse stroke and heart attack, prevent and reverse AFib and congestive heart failure, prevent and reverse kidney disease, prevent and reverse dental disease, prevent and reverse autoimmune disease, Parkinson's disease, chronic fatigue syndrome, back pain, the hidden history of nutrition, health, and science, the best of the West in art, movies, music, and books. Okay, and that's it. So, anyways, I hope you found that helpful.